up, everybody? My name's All Ego Ethan Page, and you're listening to MarsTV.
Hola amigos, yo soy El Mariachi Loco, and you're watching the MarsTV podcast.
What's up, bro? This is Robbie E, and you're listening to MarsTV.
What's up, invaders? It is the Martian, Skylar Mars, and welcome to another episode of the MarsTV podcast. Today's going to be a lot of fun. We're joined by Lucha Underground's own Famous B. I have a cool Famous B story to tell. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for this? Alright, so it was the night of Wrestle Kingdom 11. I was up for me and probably him too. It was, God, it had to be in the middle of the night. I'm talking like we watched the entire event and like Facebook messaged, and it was kind of cool to get all his like opinions on things going on and just joke around with him and buddy up with a guy from the Underground, you know? I mean, Marty the Moth has been very cool to me. Mariachi Loco, I look up to him a lot. And then, you know, Famous B has just been cool to me. Like, we've been trying to get this episode set up, since before Wrestle Kingdom. And now it's months later. And we're finally getting down to sit down and finally chat for an episode of the MarsTV podcast. I am happy to finally present this to you. Please make sure to buy any Famous B merch you may be selling. I'll figure that out during that episode and put a link in the description. Please buy my merch at teespring.com/MarsTV Teespring store, where I have several different designs, including a What's Up Invaders t-shirt, Los Marcianos del Mal in honor of Lucha Libre, and of course, the Super Kick Bison t-shirt, which has been getting rave reviews. Go on there, order yourself a t-shirt, support the show. It's going to help me afford a lot of cool stuff. And of course, I can't forget to mention our sponsor, midcardguy.com, which is a cool clothing and apparel store. If you go to Mars, all wrestling themed, by the way. If you go to if you go to midcardguy.marstv.com, you can get yourself some sweet Midcard Guy merch at 5% off. We'll see you guys for the interview in just a moment.
What is going on, guys? This is Mark Adam Haggerty from Grimm's Toy Show, BBWF, and all over the wrestling landscape, saying what is up to the listeners of MarsTV, one of my favorite wrestling podcasts. Tune in to MarsTV, tell them Mark Adam Haggerty sent you, and be sure to check me out on Grimm's Toy Show every single week.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing today?
I'm cool, man. Just chilling, Monday night. Just chilling, man. I'm alright.
Yeah, man. I like how in the world of wrestling, because of Raw, like, even when Raw sucks sometimes, Mondays don't generally suck for wrestling fans, because at least we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, that's true, and it's been like that for a very long time.
Very long time. You know? Like, the rest of the world complains about Mondays, and we're like, hey, bring it on. We like wrestling.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I look forward to Monday has been like one of my favorite days.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that reason, for that same reason.
Oh, man. I wasn't watching today, but I was just checking out the highlights on Twitter a minute ago.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, apparently it's going to be...
end up checking it out later when we get off the call. I still gotta make me some food and all that good stuff. So
awesome. This is gonna be a really weird place to start.
Come on and knock it out, because like you said, dude, we've been trying to do this for a cool minute.
We're trying to do this for I think I asked to do this in December, so that's almost 4 months.
Man, that's crazy.
That's
so how do
nuts.
you do it? You just you can record from our conversation right here?
I'm already recording.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, what's cool is I record a pre-intro, so I don't have to introduce while you're on the phone, so that way it's just a lot faster now.
Right.
Yeah, so
you already have it set up, huh?
Yeah, if you're cool with it, we could have started at the beginning. We could start now, however you feel.
Yeah, we can go ahead and start. We can knock it out real quick.
All right. Oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, Famous B.
What's going on, man? I know this is a long time coming, man. We've been talking about doing this for a cool minute, so I'm finally here, man. Finally chatting up with you, man. What's up with you?
With us. I'm doing great, man. You know, I've been doing my trainee thing, running around and meeting some cool people. I met Joey Ryan last month. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. What a heck of a guy, right?
What a heck of a guy. I didn't expect Mr. Penisplex to be shy.
And Joey's not, he's not shy at all, you know what I mean? He can be real mellow and chill at times, but yeah, definitely not shy.
Just not something I expected, but man, you know, it's great to have you on. You know, we've had a couple other Lucha Underground guys on the show. We had Marty the Moth and Mariachi Loco, all good guys. I'm noticing a general theme that those guys even pointed it out. That the Lucha Underground locker room is just a really chill place.
Yeah, man, locker room is awesome. The locker room is fantastic, man. It's nothing but a bunch of, you know, a good group of guys and gals there. And, you know, we always talk and we always look at ourselves kind of like, I don't know if misfits is the right word, or, you know, or lack thereof a better term. I'm pretty sure there's a better term for what I'm trying to say. But, you know, we're pretty much the ones that, you know, we love what we do because we have the platform to do what we do. We're all talented in our own rights. And, you know, we just look at Lucha Underground as a platform to show the rest of the world just exactly what we're capable of. I mean, you know, because we all have our, you know, our stories of, you know, our road to fame, so to speak, you know what I mean? But we all ended up, you know, we all landed in Lucha Underground, and, you know, we come together, and, you know, we all have something to prove, basically, to make a long story short. So I think it comes across with the product, man, because everybody comes out there and blazing every time we film.
Always, and, you know, I personally, I buy every week. I'll go on iTunes the Thursday after the episode comes out. I'll sit at school during lunchtime and I'll watch that, and it's always like a highlight of my Thursday.
Nice. It's cool that we've been on that platform for quite some time. You know, heading into the beginning of our last season, I believe.
Oh yeah.
It's cool that you know, it's just a different outlet for fans to see the product, because the general complaint obviously is that you know, a lot of people don't get El Rey Network, which is obviously the cable provider that the show airs on each and every Wednesdays. So with that being said, you have a lot of complaints online about I hear so many good things about the show, where can I watch it at, this and that. But you know, there's iTunes, and now just announced seasons 1 and 2 will be on Netflix. So, you know, it's cool to see that Lucha Underground is getting in more places that the fans can see it.
I gotta say, it's one of the man. I don't think this is a stretch at all. I think it might be one of like the fastest rising promotions like in recent memory.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I think that Lucha Underground definitely sparked. It sparked, I guess you could say, like the surge in the business changing, in a sense of, man, just, you know, as recently as when the show debuted, like 2014-ish, a couple years back, is pretty much when you started to see just, you know, like I said, the business changing, and in a sense of, you know, other promotions start, you know, kind of started to think outside the box in terms of pursuing talent and just being a little bit unorthodox, if you get what I mean.
Oh, of course.
In terms of their approach of the way that they usually run their, you know, business operations. So I think Lucha Underground kind of like sparked that and surged that, in a sense that it's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, look at what they're doing over here. Check this out. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know.
Yeah, that's
You know, it goes hand in hand with the time that the business kind of started to shift into a new, I guess, regime. I guess you could say.
Well, of course, because like you can kind of see that, like, you know, if you watch, you know, the Fed, a lot of their main stars today, you know, are guys who were making a big splash in the indies just a couple years ago, and Lucha Underground seems to have really taken from that same pool the indie guys, which has really helped the product.
Right, and then you also got to look at it too. With Lucha Underground obviously being around and being a nationally televised program, that's just another place to work. So therefore, more guys get more opportunities because of that.
Oh, of course.
So yeah, so that's what I meant earlier by it. Like, it changes the mindset of certain business practices of other promotions. Whereas before, where there wasn't another place like a Lucha Underground, you could kind of take your time and kind of like decide a little bit more carefully. Whereas now it's like, okay, well, get it while the getting is good, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because you never know. You don't want to miss the boat on somebody who has a very raw potential.
Of course. Now, I wanted to touch on, I guess, like, I've never asked this question before, even though I've had 3 opportunities now. How does somebody end up working for Lucha Underground? Like, that seems like the most, like, it's clearly like it's bizarre, but in the best possible way. It's the only show in all of wrestling that will kill off characters. Like, it's kind of great in that way. That, like, you've literally never seen anything like it. I don't imagine business-wise that it runs like any other either.
No, it's definitely different. It definitely runs like a TV show because it is a TV show. It's very different from the wrestling business, how wrestling promotions are usually ran. Because it's a TV show, and it's ran like a TV show first. So that's the reason why I think that the way the fans view it, and they're accepted to it, and they're okay with the, like you said, the killing off of characters and just the way we do things in the Lucha Underground universe, because I think the fans truly understand the fact that it is a TV show and they're able to look at it that way and still be able to be entertained because they're not taking it as or being as critical as they would as if it was any other wrestling promotion. I think that's where one of the things that Lucha Underground has the advantage in. And to touch on how to get into Lucha Underground, I mean, I was one of the original cast members of Lucha Underground, and I auditioned with the head writer or creative team, and I pretty much I auditioned and did some promos for a couple of characters that they had in mind, and that's pretty much how I got my foot in the door through an audition. I was offered a position with the company after that. So, very different than a norm, because, obviously whenever you're trying out for a wrestling promotion, 9 times out of 10 it's in the ring, but with Lucha Underground, it was verbally, and it was audition as if no different from what an actor would do.
Do you have any acting experience?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. Not at all. I'm just a professional wrestler. I'm just a guy that loves professional wrestling. I love the business. That I got into it about 8 years ago, and it's just one of those things that it just comes natural to me. So, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, man. Everything that I do out there is pretty much organic from just all my years of time being a professional wrestler.
Nice. I guess it's kind of cool that Lucha Underground, you can kind of use that as both a credit when you're going to wrestling promotions and a credit when you're trying to get into acting.
Absolutely, yeah, because you're playing both sides of the field. Absolutely. Absolutely, because you have that experience, like you said, in the TV world, because you're, I'm working with, some of the best, production that Hollywood can offer. I mean, it's Robert Rodriguez and Burnett for crying out loud. So I'm working with the best team possible in terms of TV, and then obviously wrestling and telling stories within the wrestling bubble, because the TV show is about wrestling. So yeah,
I kind of
it's pretty cool.
I kind of just thought about this, that when you think about Burnett and Rodriguez, it almost seems like this was the logical step. Like, if someone came to them and said, okay, you're going to do a wrestling show, go. This seems like how it would logically have panned out. Like with Lucha, they would have chosen Lucha as their waypoint.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of different other variables how Lucha Underground all came together, of course. But it's so funny because everything just kind of came together and took a life of its own. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
A lot of the original ideas for the show and just everything that they came up with originally in terms of talent, in terms of characters, in terms of who was going to play what role. Just almost everything kind of took a life in its own in the sense that it seems like very few things worked out the way they planned, but the way it became ended up being the best possible solution for the show. So, it's like one of those things where it's like, like the organism that's just, it starts off like tiny, like micro, right? And then it just, develops into like a life of its own.
Evolution, man.
How Lucha Underground was, or it is, I should say, because it's still growing.
Now, so you are a trained wrestler. Is it weird that you kind of took on this role as a manager and it just kind of blew up?
No, it's not weird because I didn't have any doubt that I would be able to pull off the character that I'm playing. I mean, I'm playing myself essentially, so it's not weird at all. I mean, I look forward to the opportunity, and for me, it was more or less a challenge, or not even a challenge, but I guess I should say an opportunity to display to the world what I can do outside of just my in-ring work that most people know me for. So that's the way I look at it. It's just pretty much well-rounding myself and displaying that I'm very well-rounded because I have a confidence in myself all along that I could definitely do this role. And I think long-term, I've been wrestling for 8 years, and I'm not getting any younger, and it's one of those things where it's like, let me step out now on another free branch and switch it up and do something a little bit different, so that way, I have more leverage in the future.
Oh yeah.
You can only wrestle for so long, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So, I'm putting it out there and establishing myself now that there's more to me than just my in-ring work. And I believe that it's going to pay off for me in the long run. So that way I can have a healthier, even longer career that I was already slated to have.
Hey, man, I mean, I may just be a trainee, but that definitely sounds like it makes sense to me. So, we got it there, man. Do you think it all helped, like, your character become what it was? The fact that they legitimately gave you a hotline?
Yeah, I mean, that's the majority of the magic to the character.
I even made a YouTube video about this before, when my podcast was just getting started, that you could really call 423 Get Fame. It made me so happy.
Right. It's just the genius of the writers and the amount of time and energy and effort and the belief that they had in me to pull the trigger on something like this that's so, broadly discussed and just, kind of revolutionary to the norm of what you see in the business, especially nowadays, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's taken on, a life of its own, and it's definitely one of the major factors and what makes Famous B, the character you see on Lucha Underground, so special.
Oh, yeah.
423, get paid.
It's pretty great, I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, it's one of my favorite things like in the world is the fact that you legitimately have a hotline.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know when that hotline rings.
Oh my god, you just went there.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man. I remember you cut a promo at one point. God, this had to have been a while ago, but you said that like when the hotline blings something. That was great. God.
Yeah. I've had so much fun with this, man.
I can tell that you're having like the time of your life, man.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. It's absolutely fun, and just Man, just coming up with just all the things that just the different mannerisms, outside of just my actual script or storyline at the time. Just the funnest part is putting my own spin and flavor on what's being asked to do. That's the funnest part. Is just taking their ideas and mixing them with mine and delivering it in a way that they wouldn't imagine when they were writing it up. And then when it plays out, all of our minds come together and I'm able to go out there and just play it and it plays out. And they love it even more than they imagined. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where they give me a mention, I run a mile with it. It's just been amazing.
Oh, yeah. Now, prior to working for Lucha Underground, did you know anything about Lucha?
Lucha? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm fluently trained in Lucha. I've been training in Lucha Libre, as far as my in-ring style, my entire career. So
Nice.
I'm very fluent in Lucha, and obviously I know the history and
Nice.
have a lot of respect for the history and all the luchadores that come before me, and it's fun to be able to cross over being an American wrestler to the Lucha Libre side. Just be.
Do you feel as though that I always say this when I'm talking about Lucha Libre is that for all the reasons people love Japanese wrestling, the fact that it's an extremely different product with incredible talent, I say they should watch Lucha for the same reason. Does that make any sense to you?
He said do that what?
So, whenever I'm trying to convince a friend of mine who's a wrestling fan that,
right.
Oh yeah, you love New Japan, you should try some AAA or some CML because, you'll love it for all the same reasons, incredible talent, very different product. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, I mean, they do. I mean, it's hard for me to relate to that because I'm a fan of the business in general. Dating back to, me growing up watching wrestling as a kid, I was always, if it had a ring and it was wrestling, I didn't care what it was. I didn't care if it was Japanese wrestling, Lucha Libre, obviously American. It did not matter. I was attracted to all companies. It didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter if I was just discovering it for the first time or if I didn't know the promotion or whatever the case may be. I was on board. You know what I mean? So I didn't really, have only just, Japanese wrestling or just Lucha or just American. You know what I mean? It's like wrestling was universal to me. So I just kind of feel like if you like wrestling or if you love wrestling, it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? What kind of style it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? That should be something that you should be pursuing on your own.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So it sounds more or less like the friends that you're talking about are more or less like casual fans.
Yeah, probably so. Besides my friends who are trainees, I'm pretty much the only hardcore fan that I know. Well,
right.
I don't really think, that's something I've always been being told to do is you're a trainee, you're not a fan anymore, you gotta really become this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way I look at it, I look at it like this, even though I've been in the business for as long as I have, and I've had the success thus far that I have, I'm still a fan of the business. I don't think that's ever going to change. Obviously, I look at the business differently, being on the inside now than when I wasn't. That's just a given. I look at it differently, but I'm still a fan, and I still, am aware of everything that's going on around the business. Because you got to look at it like this. You got to look at it as you gotta look at it like, so you have to be conscious of what's going on in the business, so that way you know where you're at in terms of where you evaluate yourself. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you're just in your own bubble, then how do you know when to switch things up or when to, grow. So, that's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? I don't feel that I can't be a fan anymore because I am a professional wrestler and I am in a business, and but that's just me. A lot of people may feel differently or have their own opinions, but everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and that's cool with me too. But I know mine, and I stick by mine, and that's really all that matters to me and my success.
Nice. Now, I know that a lot of people who work in Lucha Underground will sometimes get the chance to go over and do AAA because they have some kind of working relationship. I saw Marty get to do that, which was really, really cool because before I'd had him on my podcast, he hadn't gotten to do it yet, and then later I got to see him do it. Have you gotten to work anywhere cool because of Lucha Underground?
I've done some shows in Mexico. I've done a couple of. I've done a show through I was through AAA. Yes. But I'm not. But I don't have a AAA contract.
Oh, I see. So that's probably like a separate thing then. But it's kind of like I suggest this guy.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I mean, they can use you however they like to, and but they also have talent who are contracted with them as well. So,
of course.
That's pretty much the only difference.
Now I remember 2 months ago, it was the middle of the night. It was the night of Wrestle Kingdom. You were messaging back and forth just for giggles. Have you ever thought about working in Japan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's not a place I wouldn't go to work. I mean, no place is off limits, I guess you could say. It's just the only difference is what I can do contractually, and the parties involved in making it happen. That's really the only difference. That's the only difference in between each of my bookings, from booking to booking. But yeah, I would love to obviously work in different places and work in different markets and territories that I haven't. It only makes me better and more well-rounded. And yeah, that's something I definitely like to do and will be continuing to pursue, in the future. It's all a part of my evolution, and it's all a part of my growth in the business, just to get to different places and learn as much as I possibly can. Because that's how you become the best at what you do.
Oh yeah. Anyways, back to going to talk about AAA. You get to work a lot with Dr. Wagner, which I always thought was really, really cool because he is a legitimate legend in Mexico, and that got me to thinking, there are any other guys you've seen do some work in Mexico you'd like to see work in Lucha Underground?
You said, is there any other talent I'd like to see?
Yeah, like from, because like, I keep thinking about how I've seen like Del Rio hold the AAA title on, Lucha Underground. I always thought like, what other AAA guys could we see?
Obviously AAA is loaded with talent. There isn't anybody I wouldn't like to see. That would be like a shorter list or a shorter answer. I would probably say like maybe the Clowns.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're long overdue. But for whatever reason, obviously I don't know the inside on what the restrictions are in terms of the process of who's selected to come to Lucha Underground from AAA. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if it was possible, on both, for both parties, that would be like, my top choice.
Oh, me too. I was gonna say that. I want to see Psycho Circus, the original Psycho Circus, go for the trios title. That would be the greatest thing in my opinion. Just as a fanboy.
Yeah, that would be totally cool.
In a perfect world, them and La Parka.
They're all great. They're all great. Enjoy getting a pleasure to know, a lot of the guys that, from AAA that I hadn't worked with prior to Lucha Underground, and working with them all is phenomenal. So, good group of guys, including the AAA talent as well. They're not excluded from the mix.
All right, and we are running down the clock here, so to speak. Thank you very much, man, for coming on to the show, man.
Oh, it's not a problem, man. I'm glad we're finally able to do this, and definitely got to do it again sometime soon. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. And,
no problem.
Success to you, and everything that you're doing.
Would you like some plug time?
And the podcast and everything. Keep pushing, man.
Thank you very much. Would you like some plug time before we go?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Would you like some plug time before we go? If you have any products to plug, tell them yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All the fans out there can definitely follow me on Twitter at FamousB23. You guys can also check out my Instagram at FamousB_23. I'm on Pro Wrestling TVs now, so you can go and copy some of them sweet Famous B shirts. Stop stalling and start balling. Go to Pro Wrestling TVs right now. I'll get you a Famous B shirt. And don't forget to call 423-GET-PAID. Just thank everybody for the love and support, and all the reviews and the good praises that I get, that Lucha Underground gets, and it's much appreciated. And we're gonna keep it going as long as we can and make it happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, thank everybody for their support, man. We're gonna do it like that.
All right, no problem at all. Thank you guys very much for tuning in to another episode of the MarsTV podcast. Next time will be another fun episode. Please try and get my t-shirts from teespring.com/MarsTV Teespring store. Got many cool designs up now, including the new Super Kick Bison shirt for all you Burnett Inc. fans. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys next time.